I'm live. I hope. Okay. You guys are going to have to let me know. You're going to have to let me know how this goes because I've got a real grown-up microphone. So I'm hoping that that'll make the sound a little bit better. We'll find out. You'll have to let me know. So, hi. How are y'all? Okay. I don't really have a big plan. I just thought maybe we could hang. Hey. Oh, okay. There's people here. Hello. Hello. Yeah, so I thought that it might be fun to start doing some live streams while we're social distancing. Um, just because I've appreciated seeing some of my favorite YouTubers do this. So I don't know. I just thought this might be a nice way to have some social time. Hello, hello. Lots of hellos. Yeah, so I don't have like a big agenda for these. I'm thinking that I'll start trying to do this Tuesdays, so long as I am social distanced. And yeah, we can just hang out for a little while. So this is really weird. Like, I've got this new sound set up with the earphones and the mic, and it's creating a fun experience in my ears. That was a weird sentence. I didn't know how to get out of that sentence. But yeah, so I thought that maybe tonight I'd just talk about the social distance book fest that's coming up and just chat with you guys. So if you don't know, my friend Bethany at Beautifully Bookish Bethany, and I'm sure other people, but I'm not sure who those other people are, have been getting basically like a book event, an online book event together for the end of April, which I think will be really fun. It's called the Social Distance Book Fest, and I am hosting one of the panels for it, which is called, I think, From Sherlock Holmes to Veronica Mars, Variations in Mystery and Thriller. So I will be talking to a few different authors in different subgenres of mystery about like what makes each of their genres unique or interesting. So yeah, I think that will be really fun. And there's like a whole lineup. And she was organizing this whilst I was still pretty medicated from my recent surgery. So I actually don't know a lot of what's going to be happening in this book event that I'm participating in. I just remember like vaguely the week I got out of the hospital being like, yeah, I can totally, like, that's great. I can do it. Let me know what I can do to help. So I don't really know much about this, but I've been so impressed with Bethany. She has like gotten all this together so quickly, and just has really, yeah, like she's just done a great job organizing. She has not been feeling well the last couple weeks, so I'm really proud of her. I feel like this is going to be a really cool event. I just don't know that much about it, so I thought what we could do is I could go through and find out about all the other panels that are happening. I only know really about mine and only kind of vaguely from from my limited ability to focus on anything besides work and trying to change my dressings every day. So I'm gonna open up Instagram. Also, if you've not checked out their Instagram, they are like slaying the game. I think Bethany has somebody working with her on the Instagram account, and the pictures are like next level. I literally could never do anything nearly as cool as what they've got going on in their pictures. So I'm just gonna look through some of these panels. Maybe we can talk about the ones that maybe we want to go to. The only one that I know that I'm going to is mine. So okay, let's see here. The first one. Oop, nope, you're not going to be able to see that. The first one is New Voices in YA, Science Fiction and Fantasy. So, hear from some of the most promising new voices in YA, science fiction, and fantasy, a diverse group of debut authors with buzzy books. So, let's see who's all on here. Oh, Namina Forna is, she's got the Gilded Ones coming out, I think, later this year, which is one that was on my radar. And then Shveta Thakrar, maybe, also has one on my list, which was Star Daughter, and I think that one is about like the child of a star, not like a Hollywood star, but like a celestial body. and then like magic-y things happen from there. So yeah, that sounds pretty cool. That's at 10 a.m. Pacific, 1 p.m. Eastern, 12 p.m. my time, on that Saturday, and it's hosted by Pages and Pens. So that one seems like it might be a good one for me to hop on. That sounds great. Finally, a book festival I can attend. Yes, that's the nicest part of this, is that like you don't have to get on a plane or anything for this. I think maybe the genesis for this event, I should say, is that I don't think BookCon/BEA is happening this year. I assume not. Like, it shouldn't happen this year. Actually, I don't think it literally could, because isn't it usually in the Java Center, and that's like getting turned into a hospital? So I don't think that's happening this year. So I think this is meant to be kind of like a replacement. And the nice thing is you don't actually have to fly anywhere. It's all online. So I think that will be good. The next one I'm definitely interested in, and I'm hoping it's not at the same time as mine. And I don't think it is. Okay, it's Diversifying Romance, and Bree Hill is attending, or is moderating that one. And if you like romance and you are not following Bree Hill, like, what are you actually doing? She's so great. Her Instagram is my fave. She's awesome. You should be checking her out. So she's hosting that one, and the lineup here is stellar. So I'm definitely going to go to this one. Today they officially canceled BookCon. Good. They should. I don't know who they were kidding there. Hi, I'm very interested in this. I love crime, murder mystery novels. My favorite's probably Victoria Thompson's Guide series, but I also like the Ruth Rendell, Barbara Vine books. I need to give Ruth Rendell another try, because I've only tried one and I hated it. But I know many people really enjoy her work. I've also gotten recommended that Victoria Thompson series a lot, but I've never tried it. So perhaps someday. But anyway, the Diversifying Romance panel, I'm definitely going to go to that one. The lineup includes Talia Hibbert, who I love, Adriana Herrera, who I've not read anything from, but I've heard her on several podcasts, and she's always really entertaining. I don't know who Meryl Wilson is. Vanessa Riley writes historicals that I've heard are really good, and Yafa S. Santos is the last person. So yeah, basically I think this one will be super awesome. So I'm definitely going to go to that one. I should mention, if you want to go to these panels, you don't have to like sign up or anything. They're just going to be like live streamed on people's channels, much like I'm live streaming now, except that there will be more than just me. Let's see here. Have I seen Anne with an E? No, I haven't. I don't really have plans to. I'm good with the old school one from the 90s that I feel like I had to watch at every camp I ever went to. That version of Anne of Green Gables is good enough for me. Hey, Deborah. Hello, everyone. So I'm definitely going to go to that Diversifying Romance panel. Faux show, because I think that's right up my alley. And let's see here. And they haven't actually, they're still posting all of the panels, so they're not been fully announced. So the next one is Love, Lost, and First, New Voices in YA Contemporary. So there we go. Here's some of the buzziest new voices in contemporary YA fiction. These debut authors write books with humor and angst, joy and pain. So this one probably is not for me. It's hosted by the Feminist Bookworm, but I'm not that into YA contemporary. That's like, doesn't tend to really be my thing. I know a lot of people really enjoy it. YA contemporary, I don't know. Like, contemporary usually ends up meaning romance, and if it's a romance, I want it to be adult, because otherwise I just feel like, I don't know. Well, A, there's not usually sexy times, which I feel like there should be. And B, I don't know. It just feels like for YA contemporary, the stakes never really make sense to me, because I know they're not going to stay together. Like, I don't believe that they'll be together forever. So like, what's the point? So there we go. Let's see here. So nice to see you up and on here. Hope you're healing well. Thank you, Amanda. I am definitely feeling a lot better. I probably will not be able to sit for much longer than an hour, because I'm still a little limited there, but it, things like this, it makes you take things as simple as sitting. not take them for granted. I'm very thankful to even just be able to sit in a chair. Uh, isn't Mara Wilson the girl who played Matilda? Or did I just mishear that? I believe that is her name. I said Meryl Wilson, but that was my southern accent, so I apologize for that. I'm reading The Nowhere Child by Christian White right now. It's so good. I've never heard of that, but I'm glad that you were enjoying it. I also love romance so much, and I'm reading Love in the Time of Cholera by Gabriel Garcia Marquez, although I have no idea how the heck to feel about it. I don't I've never read that book. I feel like maybe it would be a little too real right now. I don't know. I've seen people reading like pandemic fiction, and yeah, I don't feel like that's for me. I'm very much into my escapist stuff right now. Let's see here. I don't like all Ruth Rendell's books either, but many of them are quite good, better than Agatha Christie IMO, and I know you love Agatha Christie. Yeah, probably going to be a hard sell to convince me that anyone's better than Agatha Christie, but that's just my own prejudices. Agree that it needs to have some steaminess. Love your channel. Glad you're feeling better. Thank you so much. Yeah. Okay, yeah. Anyway, so YA contemporary, yeah. That's the reason why I don't tend to be that into YA contemporaries. Every once in a while I'll read one I really like. A Heart and a Body in the World by Deb Coletti. It's a YA contemporary that I absolutely loved a couple of years ago. So I can be convinced, but in general, that's not so much my thing. So that one's probably not for me, but if you're interested in it, it looks like it's at 3 p.m. Eastern, or sorry, 3 p.m. Pacific. Ooh, sorry, 6 p.m. Eastern. All of these are in Pacific/Eastern Standard Time, which I know is very US-centric, but such is the nature of many things to, I think, the globe's consternation and disappointment these days. How's life in quarantine going for you besides the company of books? LOL. Honestly, I've only just, like I said, I'm just thankful to be able to like sit. So I've only really gotten off of like bed rest in the last like week or so. So I don't think I'm as antsy about lockdown as a lot of people have been, because I just like had no energy or desire to really do much of anything. I did go for a walk on Saturday, which was really exciting. I very much enjoyed that. I'm not that antsy. I think honestly, like if I'm just being totally real, the hardest part for me is knowing, like, so I have to go to the hospital once a week for wound care follow-up. And that produces a lot of anxiety for me, because like, who wants to be going to medical facilities right now? Like, unless you have to be, no one. So, they gave me a big box of gloves, and I made my own little mask. So like I do my best. But that whole thing is very anxiety producing for me. I think I'm very humbled by how vulnerable you feel when you are very dependent on other people for healthcare stuff. And there is a sense that your access to that healthcare might be not secure. And I think it's probably, so, I'm very lucky that well, for those of you who live in countries that have universal healthcare, you may not totally empathize with this. Sadly, here in the US, there are many people who do not have access to healthcare at all. Or if they do, it is prohibitively expensive in terms of, I think, essentially costs of healthcare are like the number one thing that sends people into bankruptcy in the US. It's honestly an atrocity. I think until I lived in Canada, I didn't realize how just like, I mean, we can get into a whole thing here, but like how like morally bankrupt that position to take on healthcare is. But anyway, all that to say, I am lucky enough that I am in a financial position that I have never had to worry about being able to buy the healthcare I need. So I think being in a position where it's not a question of money that gets you access to healthcare, but literally a question of availability, I think is a really humbling position. And I hope I am able to internalize this feeling in terms of having deepened lifelong empathy for people in my country who do not have access to healthcare because they can't afford it, versus right now, just literally everyone's access to healthcare is kind of compromised just because of what's going on. That was probably deeper than we wanted to get into. That's That's my like probably too real answer about that. So sorry. I'll get back to books. Let's see here. My reading is all over from Mysteries of Fantasy. Me too. I'm an omnivore. Hello, Christine from Toronto. Do love Canada. Lived there for 3 years. It's okay to have a variety of feelings. It's bad when you feel nothing. Yeah. If the book's not working for you, just try something else, I think. I've been reading Harry Potter for the first time. I figured social distancing is the perfect time to start. I'm currently on Order of the Phoenix, what's my favorite book in the series. My favorite book is definitely the last one, which is The Deathly Hallows. So sounds like you have not yet gotten there. I love it because it proves that really Hermione is the true hero of the series, which you can see my full thoughts on if you go watch my drunk Harry Potter recap. I learned from doing that I apparently have very deep-seated resentment against Snape, and I have very strong feelings that Hermione is really the true hero of that entire series, and Harry is just sort of a little bit of a wet blanket. Let's see, I just finished Jane Eyre for the first time. Yay! Hearing you talk about it finally convinced me to pick it up. I loved it. Yay! I'm so glad to hear that. I mean, obviously not every book is going to work for every person, but I'm very glad to hear that you love Jane Eyre. I love Jane Eyre so much. I'm moving to Tennessee when this is all over. Well, hey, come on down. I'm not sure if I recommend it or not, but it's okay. It's where I'm from, so for good or for ill, that's what it is. Yeah. Okay, so let me get back to some of these panels, talking about what I think about them. Okay, so the next one is Family, Friendship, and Determination in Middle Grade Fiction. From speaking up to protecting families and fighting ghosts, these authors tell stories of determined kids who love their family and friends, even in difficult times. Yeah, this one's, again, probably not quite for me. I know that people... Yeah, like I read middle grade fiction occasionally. It's not something that I focus on. In general, like I think if you can tell, like from watching my channel, I do enjoy YA. I read and enjoy YA in middle grade, but it's not a focus for me. And I know that in general, there's a feeling that Booktube is overly focused on or skewed towards YA in middle grade. Now, part of that is because the people who really like got Booktube off the ground were young people who were reading books aimed at them, which I think is kind of great. So I'm never going to be somebody who's like, there's too much YA on Booktube. Like, I find that to be honestly just like a really tiresome argument and a really tiresome discussion in general. All I'll say is that I do enjoy YA middle grade from time to time. But it's not really like a focus of mine. So I don't know that this is a panel that will be like super, super up my alley. There is a McKay's. That's true. If you're in Tennessee, there's a McKay's, though I'm really worried about what's going to happen to McKay's after this. I filmed an unhaul a couple of days ago, and it made me realize, like, I don't know, is McKay's going to still be around for me to unhaul too? I hope so. I hope surely they will. I love McKay's so much. It'll be such a bummer. What am I reading? I'm reading a Red House Mystery by A.A. Milne, which I'm liking but not loving. And then next is The Deep by Rivers Solomon. So I've been on a fantasy frenzy. I'm a little crazy. I picked up The Stand and want somebody to buddy read it with me. I don't know that this is the time I would be reading The Stand. I guess it's appropriate seasonally for where we are in the world, but I don't think that would be relaxing to me, but I hope you are enjoying it. Glad you're feeling good now, but considering everything going on, seeing the energy in you, I feel to say your energy and mood is inspiring and beautiful sight to see. If only you could share some. Well, thank you. That's very kind. I'm definitely feeling much, much better than I have been for more than 2 months. So, hello from a hospital room after surgery. Hello. Oh, sending you so much love. I was there so recently. This is such an awful time to be in the hospital. And wish you speedy recovery and lots of good drugs. And hopefully the nurses don't wake you up quite as often as they kept waking me up. Jane Eyre is one of my favorites too. My favorite parts of the psychic and the burning of the house and the ending. What's your favorite parts? I just love any monologue from Jane. Yeah, she has so many iconic little moments. I particularly love, well, I can't really get into it because it would be spoilers, but there's a moment with her in Rochester where she just like stands up for herself and it's just like, yes, queen, preach. Like, I love it. So great. I just started with Booktube. Any tips on how to get an audience? I do have a whole video about tips. So I do have tips, and the full version of it would be there. I would say my number one thing I would recommend is to build community within your cohort. So one of the main things that I would recommend people do is look into some of the newbie tags or the newbie 2.0 tags and really try to make connections with other creators who are starting off at the same time. And by building that community, you do shout outs, collabs. It helps you enjoy the process a lot more. And I think that is a more organic way to start creating some community and start creating some momentum. You've got to post regularly. I know people don't like to hear that, but like our YouTube overlords, that is what they like. Posting regularly. And then I guess my third thing would just be to be like, really just to be honest with yourself about like what you're kind of bringing to the community in terms of how many people are already doing the thing that you're trying to do. And if there's already a lot of people trying to do that, it's just going to be a harder road. So at an overview, those are my thoughts. Let's see here. McKay's is doing stuff like curbside book bags, and I think you can still buy shirts and stuff. As soon as stimulus comes in, I think I'm going to get a shirt or something. That is great to know. I should do the same because I've been literally going to McKay's my entire life, and I cannot imagine not being able to go to them. That's like my heart. Been in a book slump for quite some time now. I think of returning to reading Agatha Christie. Which one would you wholeheartedly recommend to me? Have I read Dorothy L. Sayers before? I have read Dorothy L. Sayers. I really like her. I don't like her nearly as much as I like Agatha Christie. Like, no competition for me, but her writing is beautiful, and I would definitely recommend her. If you want to try a Dorothy Sayers, I would recommend Gaudy Night. I think that is her best book. Agatha Christie, it just depends on what you've read of her. I have a whole video on where to start with Agatha Christie, so those are my full thoughts. Not knowing what you've read, I mean, my go-to recommendation usually to people is And Then There Were None, Death on the Nile, Murder on the Orient Express. I think those are some pretty safe places to start. So, yeah, but I recommend both of them, obviously. Hi, Lisa. Oh, thank you. Bree! I was talking about Bree Hill. She is here. Bree, I was telling everyone that they need to join your panel for Social Distance Book Fest because it looks amazing. I will definitely be there. Also, Bree's Instagram is one of my favorites, so get your life together and go follow Bree. If I could be a writer, what genre would I write and why? I do write for fun. Right now, well, I was until surgery. I was working on a mystery novel. So at some point, hopefully I will pick that back up because I was enjoying it. Teresa says, I was just finished The Slatterman's Daughter. Fantastic book. It's the kind of stories within a stories about Jewish sisters worth checking out. Good recommendation there. What do I think of the 06 version? Not sure what that is, so I think nothing of it. Same, I don't know what I would do without McKay's. Yeah, like literally, I mean, I grew up in Knoxville, which there's some McKay's there. And I literally don't remember a time when I was not going to McKay's. I mean, I read so much as a kid, like that's how my parents kept me in books, was at McKay's. And I guess the library between those two. J.I. recommends Crooked House for Agatha Christie, which I would co-sign. That's like a top 5 Christie for me. It's a great one. Hello to New Jersey. Okay, and we'll go to the next panel here. So Oh, the next one was mine. Yeah, so if you don't know, the one that I am hosting is called From Sherlock Holmes to Veronica Mars, Variations in the Mystery Thriller Genre. That will be on the 25th at 11 Eastern, 8 Pacific, 10 a.m. my time. So you can start your day off very mysteriously with me. My guests will be Grady Hendrix, who just released the Southerner's Guide to Vampires, I believe. It's that really the cover you've seen everywhere with that peach on it. It's really pretty. I have it on order from Parnassus, so I'm hoping it will arrive before then. Megan Campasy, whose book is Sin Eater, which I've tried to get my hands on and can't get a copy of. Thank you, quarantine. So that's hers. Elizabeth Thomas, her book is Catherine House, which I don't believe is out yet, so I couldn't get my hands on it. Anna D. Cardinal, and she's got a YA thriller coming out, but it's not out yet, so I couldn't get my hands on it. And then C.L. Taylor's newest book is Strangers, which is out in the UK, but it's not out in the US yet, so I also couldn't get my hands on it. But I read Sleep last year from her, which made my top 10 mystery list. So I think it'll be a really fun conversation. I hope you guys will come check it out. So that's on Saturday morning. It's a week from this Saturday morning. So obviously I think you should come to that one because I'm hosting it. Let's see here. Oh, here's another one that I'm hoping I can make. I should be, I hope these are not in conflict time-wise, but another one that I want to get to is Tackling Consent, Gender, and Toxic Masculinity in Romance. And my friend Amanda from the Naughty Librarian is moderating that one. I think that should be super interesting. Good lineup of people, super interesting topic to me. I think that one will be really good. Al Reed says, I just started reading the Southern Book Club's Guide to Slaying Vampires. Thank you. That is the name of the book. So excited to get into it. I've seen really good reviews for it so far, and I've also seen good reviews for his previous book, which is My Best Friend's Exorcism. So I'm hopeful for that. James is reading The Brontes by Julia Barker. Great subject. The naked hardback of that Grady Hendrix is so cute. Mint green with peach on the inside. Well, I'll have to check it out. Where on Booktube? Yeah, so these panels will be hosted on the different host channels. So my panel will be here on my channel. And then you just need to look up and see who is hosting all of the different ones, and it'll be on each of their channels. You don't need to register anything. You just show up kind of like you're here for this live stream. You just will show up for that live stream. Bree is excited to host hers. Yes, I think that's going to be a great one. Need a mystery novel written by you. Someday, if I can get through it. I am writing an isolated close circle mystery of my dreams. You guys know how much I love that trope, so I'm trying to write my perfect one. My Best Friend's Exorcism is really good. Yes, I saw great reviews for that one. I actually have that on Kindle already, so maybe I'll dip into that one before the panel. So we've got that panel happening. Then we have world building and speculative fiction and historical suspense. And my friend Leanna from Leanna's Library is hosting that one. And who all is on there? It's like Paul Kruger, Zach Jordan, June Herr, K.S. Velosa, and J.E. Perazzi. So I don't really know those authors, but I love Leanna. I think that should be a pretty interesting topic. Leanna is somebody who is like very nitpicky about world building. I don't know. For me, world building just has to sell me on it, and it has to not be like blatantly not like it has to have some level of surface level consistency. So like I know some people really like in fantasy and sci-fi stuff where the author has clearly like thought through every single detail of it and puts that on the page. Like that's enjoyable to them. For me, that is not enjoyable. Like for me, that feels, I think the word I've used to describe that in the past is masturbatory. So for me, that feels more like, ooh, like I want to show you my entire world Bible and put all of it on the page. For me, that's not enjoyable. I just want you to like sell me that this is a cool world. And that's kind of enough for me. So Yeah. So I don't get bothered by some of the world building things that bother her, but I think that would be an interesting conversation because she cares about it so much. Considering we're calling it the stuff we've read recently, I just finished reading Sabriel for the first time today. Was surprised at how much I liked it. Why are you surprised? Sabriel is like fucking awesome book. I remember I read that in middle school with my best friend Jolene, and I remember us feeling like we had read a book that other people didn't know about, which now, like as an adult, and I see how many other people our age had read it, that was not true. But because we were really some of the only people in our circle who read YA, it just felt like we had this like secret and we loved it. We loved that series so much. And then we started reading, even once we were in high school, the Keys to the Kingdom series that came out from Garth Nix, even though it was middle grade and not nearly as good, but we used to refer to that as the awesome adventures of asthmatic Arthur. And yeah, so that's like a defining series in our friendship. But anyway, I'm so glad you read it. I'm so glad you liked it. It's such a great YA fantasy. What's the last mystery you read that felt different than what I've been reading? Oh, Brie. Let me pull up my little spreadsheet. I've got to tell you, so far this year, I don't think that my mystery has been all that great, but let me look. I keep running spreadsheets throughout the year, or else I would never be able to do my end of the year lists. I have to do it as I go. So it looks like the best, my number one mystery so far this year is actually The Pale Horse by Agatha Christie. And that is a weird ass Agatha Christie book. I did watch the miniseries of it, and I can't say I loved it. It was an interesting direction for them to go in. The book is much better. So it's a weird book. It's got like a lot of occult elements in it. So it's a little different. And then, my second favorite right now looks like it's 8 Perfect Murders, which is a little bit different too. It's a very meta book. My only problem is it's hard to recommend it because it ruins so many classic mysteries. It just, yeah, I feel like it's hard to kind of just full-throatedly recommend that one. But it is different. It's got a very meta quality to it that I think is fun. Seeing those Dune images today makes me want to reread the first book before the film comes out. I have zero interest in reading Dune. I know it's a classic, but just like too many people who I tend to agree with their opinions have not enjoyed it. But sometimes classics and genres, like you just can't appreciate them anymore, but you can appreciate their influence on the genre, and that's kind of how I feel about it. Of like, it clearly like influenced all of sci-fi that as we know it today. So like, thank you to it for that, but not so much for me. The Brontes is my 24th book this year, mostly nonfiction. I've not been reading as much nonfiction this year. I need to get into it. The OG Sabriel cover is gorgeous. Yes, it is. And I had my original mass market and I got rid of it. And I don't know how I feel about that. It was falling apart. That's why I did it, but I don't know. Just got into mystery, started with Double Indemnity by James Cage. Classic, loved it. Going through the books in 7 Perfect Killings before I read it. Yeah, that's actually a great strategy if you want to get a little primer on mystery. It's a lot worse things you could do. Oh, and Katie, I see you corrected 8 Perfect Murders. Yes, I knew what you meant. I thought maybe that was like the UK title. I was like, oh, okay, maybe. Hey, Kimberly, let's see here. I wrote a mini novel about a group of people isolated in an English manor house during World War I, and some of them were found dead. I wrote it for just for fun. And while the idea was not bad, and let's go down here. The characters were interesting, the execution was not great, and I did no editing whatsoever, so I never thought of having it published. Sometimes you can just write for fun. I've never written something that I felt strongly enough about to go through the entire rigmarole of seeing if it could be published. But I still enjoy it. So, and that premise is like so up my alley. So I co-sign on that. Is there an article that lists all 8 mysteries so I can see what I've read and didn't? I don't know, but in my month end wrap up for March, I give you the list. I listed out all the ones so that people know. I also want people to know that that book spoils And Then There Were None and The Murder of Roger Ackroyd by Agatha Christie. So I just feel like people should know this. It's fine if you are okay with being spoiled, but if you're not okay with being spoiled, I feel like you should have that knowledge going in. The last mysteries I read were last year, both by Agatha Christie's. Well, what you can't do much better, I don't think, so not bad ones to have read last. Okay, the next panel that I see in the feed, aside from all these gorgeous pictures of these books, the next one I see is Journeys That Change Us, Coming of Age in YA Fiction. From fighting for love to fighting for justice, coming of age can be both beautiful and difficult. Hear from a panel of authors who take their characters on a journey towards growth and self-determination. I don't think I know any of these authors, but it's hosted by the fabulous Book Fiend. So that one is at 1 p.m. Pacific, 4 p.m. Eastern. So that one's probably not quite as much up my alley, but if you are more into YA than I, that might be a good one. Been trying to find a mystery author whose writing I love as much as Christie. No luck yet, but I do like 2 Sherry Lapina books I've read. I really love The Unwanted Guest. And actually, when my mom was staying with me to take care of me, that's the book I gave her to read. But I had some problems with it. I didn't think it was perfect. And so not necessarily that enticed to try more from her beyond like the specific trope I like. So Stop You're Killing Me is a great resource for mystery buffs. Good to know. Do you have a video yet about Arthur Conan Doyle versus Agatha Christie? Would be interested in Sherlock versus Poirot thoughts. No, I mean, how to say? I guess I must prefer Poirot to Sherlock just based on the fact that I love Agatha Christie in a way that I don't. I mean, I still love Sherlock Holmes. Like, I love them both. They're just different. I think the fact that, well, and I love short stories, so I also feel like I think that Sherlock is not as full of a character as Poirot. That being said, I'm not making the argument that Poirot is like this fully realized, like very round character, but I do think he at least is somewhat more of an interesting character. I think, yeah, I don't know. It's interesting. I guess I've never tried to make that direct comparison before. Sherlock, I think, leaves me feeling a little colder. Maybe that's a way to put it. I think that the Arthur Conan Doyle books, I think, are a little more cold to me than the Christies. I think the Christies are funnier and I think have a more inviting, authorial voice to them. Like, I just like Agatha Christie's writing better, so therefore her characters tend to be a little warmer to me. I prefer Hastings to Watson in terms of like the narrator in that role. So yes, I've never made a video like that, but those are my off the cuff thoughts about that comparison. Unwanted Guest was solid. I liked it. Yes, I did too. I loved 8 Perfect Murders. Luckily, I'm old and can't remember what Peter Swanson said about classic murders he includes. I feel you. I forget such things too. This is why I can rewatch things and reread things, because I often forget how, like, the specific beats of how they unfold. Just finished A Heart and a Body Sigh. So good. Oh, it is. It's such a great book. It is a weeper, though. It will make you cry. It's really, really good. What did I think of Agatha Christie's Towards Zero and Ordeal by Innocence? I remember, see, these are two. So I think Ordeal by Innocence, I've never understood why people love that one so much. It's fine. It's just not a personal favorite. Towards Zero, I know that I've read it based on my like notes, and I gave it a good review. I remember nothing about it. So it's one I'm going to reread before I do my final, like, complete ranking of every book, because I just don't remember enough about it. Can you talk about what you'd like your Discord to be? There are people that seem so cool based on their comments and books we have in common, but I don't know if it's okay to chat in general. Go for it. Totally. I have that set up just primarily for read-alongs, but like you're totally welcome to do whatever in general. I'm not like, unless I see someone getting rowdy over there. I mean, in general, like I'm not much to heavily moderate. So yeah, have at it. Sherlock versus Poirot would make a great satire TV sitcom, The Odd Couple. Oh, well, I don't know. They're both very well, yeah, Poirot does not approve of the drugs, so I don't think he'd be into that from Sherlock. Currently writing a medieval fantasy novel, but it's not the usual stuff. More of a Bildun's Roman with a female protagonist. Be interesting because I know you want to see diversity. I do. Medieval fantasy novels are kind of a hard sell for me. I just think it's hard to do interesting things with them. But, you know, if done well, anything can be interesting. Have you ever read The Hollows by Kim Harrison? She's so fun. I have not. I feel like I know that name, though. Let's see here. Kim Harrison. Where do I know her from? Oh, yeah. Okay, I recognize these covers. No, I've never read these, but this is like a urban fantasy, romancy kind of thing. That's definitely my vibe. It kind of reminds me of the Janine Frost covers. I do like those. Let's see here. Okay, cool. I have a feeling people that enjoy your content would also enjoy each other. Yeah, totally. I would love that. Yeah. Feel free to chat. As long as you're not, like trying to pick people up or whatever, that's fine. Do you have any opinions on the Flavia Duluth series? That's a series, and this is a video I've thought about doing of like what I call second chance books. So it's one that I tried to start and didn't get traction with. Like it just wasn't vibing with me for whatever reason. But on paper, that's a series I would really like. Like it's got a lot of the things that in theory I should enjoy in a mystery series. So it's one where I DNF the first book, but I wonder if I tried again with it, if I would like it better. So that's the only opinion I have, but that's what I would put in a kind of second chance. Like at some point I would like to come back to it because I think I would probably like it. Hey, Amrita. Okay, let's see here. What other panels have been announced here? Mostly I'm looking at these gorgeous pictures and thinking I could never in my wildest dreams do any of these. Okay, there's one that is called Navigating Latinx Identity and Fantasy. Ooh, that sounds interesting. Okay, how can you explore the richness of Latinx cultures in the fantasy genre? This impressive panel of authors will discuss how they integrate their community, culture, and identity into the stories they tell and why representation matters. That's hosted by Paula Guerrero, sorry. So that one I'm definitely interested in. Let's see here. It's got Zoraida Cordova and Amory McLemore. Oh, Daniel Jose Older. Yeah, this is a good one. Okay, so I'm hoping I can go to that one. That's at 6 p.m. Eastern, so 5 p.m. my time. Yeah, I'm going to try to go to that one. Joshana! Hey, Joshana, how are you? Joshana has a new, like, tiny baby kitten who I'm obsessed with. I stalk your pictures, girl. This is going to be a dumb question, but what does DNF mean in ARC? Yes, Joshana has, I correctly defined those. Also, I think Murphy Napier actually has a good video of like Booktube vocab definitions. So that's a good resource if you're ever wondering what acronyms mean. Let's see here. They're so adventurous and intense. The vibe of their kitchen, the old church. The roommates are perfect. I'm gonna guess that that's the Kim Harrison book, so good to know. Amanda says, I think you'd enjoy the show Lost Girl. It's on Netflix now and a paranormal romance. I do like a paranormal romance. Agreed. Not a dumb question to ask what all these acronyms mean. Once you get sucked into the full Booktube void, you just forget that we've got our own language going. The Christies I read were the first novels featuring Marple and Poirot, respectively. Those are two fantastic books, so those are two good ones to have. Have I read any romantic mysteries recently that I liked? Not really. Yeah, not really. I mean, I guess the closest thing would be Undercover Bromance, because that was sort of like a meta take on a romantic suspense. But I've just not been reading that much romantic suspense lately. I did just finish one called Whiteout by Adriana Anders. It was only okay. It was more of like a thriller. Yes, Joshana, she is a freaking delight, and I will stalk because she's just so cute. Oh, baby kitty. Are you interested in a group read on the Discord for an Unkindness of Magicians? It's one of the many are reading as the book with white cover for owls. I am not, but I say if you can rally other people to talk about it on the general thread, go for it. I saw somebody else ask that question. That's totally fine with me. If you want to use the general thread to like organize a side buddy read, that's totally fine. I've heard that's a good book. I actually, like I said, I just finished reading Whiteout, and that was my book with a white cover for my Charms owl. Yes, Joshana, you scared me with Gigi. I was worried about her, and then she just had gas. I feel that so strongly, I have to say. Oh, I vibed with that. Poor Gigi. Murph says Dumbles for Dumbledore. Rereading Christie's Hickory Dickory Dock via audiobook. I feel for Hugh Fraser having to narrate some cringe stereotype character dialogue. Ugh. Yeah, that book. What to say about that book? I think it's not aged that well. I think she was trying. She had a vision. And I think her heart was in the right place, but the execution has not aged well. And I can't imagine Hugh Fraser trying to do like a Jamaican accent. So, yeah. Sherlock Holmes, in my opinion, is great, but rather plotting, while I find Agatha to be funnier. I definitely agree, funnier. Sherlock, I don't know if I think of it as plotting. I think if you read a lot of those short stories back to back to back, it can get kind of samey. So I think the reading experience tends to not be quite as good. And Unkindness of Magicians, only 8 hours on audio. Good to know. And I have to listen at double speed. I know some people can't do that, but I can't focus if it's at 1x. I have to have it at double speed at least. I also I like it if I can even get up to 2.5. Yeah. Okay, let's see. What's the next panel here? Fierce femmes, standing your ground. Whether they are seeking justice, overthrowing the patriarchy, preventing war, or facing their own trauma, these authors write characters who are fierce femmes, displaying bravery and tenacity. Hear from a panel discussing what it means to be fierce and how that may present in very different ways. So that's hosted by Books Build Life. I don't think I recognize any of those authors, but sounds like an interesting topic. So that one's at 4 p.m. Eastern. We'll see. I'm looking forward to whenever they post the full schedule. I am that nerd. Anytime there's like a conference or like back in school when you had like your course catalog, like I loved getting the full schedule and then sitting there and figuring out which ones I was going to go to / which ones I was going to take. It was real fun. I don't know what's happening with BookNet Fest this year, but in theory, I'm going to be on the panels again even if it's virtually. And I'm so excited for the lineup there too. And I was telling Mari the same thing of like, how do I pick which ones? They're all so good. I don't know. My course catalog is too much. One time on Audio's Insanity, for real. I can't like, once you make the change, you can't go back, because then you become so aware of how slowly every book is narrated. And it's just like, I just can't focus on it anymore. My audiobook is 1.2 or 2.4. Anything faster is just annoying. 1.2, that's quite a range. 1.2 or 2.4. Please read East of Eden, I'm begging you. I want to try a shorter Steinbeck. But that one is the long one I'm thinking about tackling at some point, but I need to see if I like him as an adult, because I definitely did not like him as a teen. So yeah. Yeah, The Mysterious Affair of Styles and Murder at the Vicarage are the first two. Where can we find a full list of these various discussions in the schedule? I'm a little worried I may miss something because I'm on a different time zone. I live in Romania. Yeah, I think that they're doing the full announcements on Instagram and Twitter, like one at a time. And then once they've announced all of them, they'll publish the full schedule. So I don't think they have listed that yet, but it will be listed once they're done announcing each of the panels. That's my understanding. So keep your eyes open there. Didn't mean to ask twice. No worries, Kevin. I just subscribed and I'm new here. Welcome. Trying to get into classics as well. Love your channel. Thank you so much. Welcome, welcome. It is so interesting to me seeing, because I have a pretty varied reading taste, and it's just, yeah, it's interesting seeing different people kind of know me for different things. So like, I know some of you know me as like the Christie person. Some people know me for like doing classic reads. Some people know me for loving smut. So I feel like I have a wide variety of paths into books like Woe. So I hope your classics journey is going well. I think I love classics, and I think it's all about picking the right classic for you. So I don't think there's like any one good path to that. No problem, Una. How do I say your name? In my head I say Una, but I bet that's not right. Oana Maria? Oana? Is that a close maybe? Oana? You can let me know how much I've mangled your name. I found your channel because of your Penguin Clothbound collection, stayed for everything else. Yes, I lure you in with my beautiful Coralie Bigford Smith covers. Thoughts on the best book I read this year, Ready Player One. I guess my feeling about that book is that it's fun, yummy candy. And if you like it as fun, yummy candy, then like, I totally see that. For me, it wasn't that fun. Like, it was only okay. Like, it didn't hit my pleasure spot. So I don't love it. Yeah. So for me, it's just not quite like fully a home run, but I can totally see why people really enjoy it as like a really fun book. Keep my eyes open on Instagram, Twitter. I don't like, sorry, I just follow celebrities and friends who don't have Facebook or Instagram. Yep. I'm much more of an Instagram person. Twitter is very stressful these days, I find. I dip on there to get a sampling of if there's something big happening, but like listening to all these armchair epidemiologists and economists is stressful and not fun. And I feel like, yeah, anyway, side note. I know you as the isolated closed circle girl. That is a fact. I love this. I forgot to mention my female protagonist is called Mara. I approve. I'm someone who's just getting into Agatha. Where do you think I should start? I love your channel. By the way, you're amazing. Thank you so much. I actually have an entire video about where to start with Agatha Christie, so just search that. I've got a couple of different thoughts about strategy. Depends on if you're wanting to commit to a series versus a standalone versus if you've what you've read of her so far. So I have a few different thoughts, so you should go check that out. You said in your vlog you hardly brush your hair. Your hair is so pretty. Thank you. Which products do you use, or is it hopeless for the rest of us? Does your hair just fall that way? I will, yeah. So I use I've not found a shampoo I love. I'm still experimenting. I use like a light defining gel for the curl and a leave-in conditioner. But I don't really style my hair. I just sleep on it wet and it kind of just falls how it will. So this is like the real trick here is you got to find a hair person who will give you a cut that works for your texture. So really the trick here is the haircut more than the product. Like my lady, she saw my hair, we had the same texture. So she was like, I've got you. So that's kind of the big thing. Now that I can't really get my hair cut, we're going to see what happens with it. So it'll be a while. What are your opinions on film as opposed to books? I just think they're different mediums. They have strengths and weaknesses. I like a film adaptation. I think an adaptation can be better than its source material. I definitely have film adaptations of books that I think are excellent. And I just think that they're different. I don't think that either is intrinsically better than the other. They're different. Just started Lord of the Rings. Enjoy. Get through fucking Tom Bombadil. Don't let him slow you down. Push past. That's where I stalled out. I saw your video where you dabbled in some Brandon Sanderson. I would recommend to you try Skyward next. A lot of people really enjoyed it. I don't know if and when I'll read more Sanderson, but I have heard people really liking that one. And I've not tried anything sci-fi from him, so maybe. How not brush and not get knots. I just sort of like finger comb out my knots. Like the Spanish Juana. Okay. Maria Ulu. Okay. So it's like Juana Maria Ulu. Okay, cool. Just so you know, in English, that would be Joanna Mary. And down south, that would be how we'd go with it. My hair is so fine and thin. I have the craziest cowlicks that make me look like I have bald spots. Joshana, I have seen your hair IRL and it is beautiful. So I don't even want to hear it. I do have very thick hair. I have so much hair. I have an abundance of hair. Most of the time when I first go to a new hair person and they get their hands in it, they're like, oh, like I wasn't expecting there to be so much. So I've got plenty. I find that a lot of Christie adaptations aren't that great, hoping for the best on Death on the Nile. Hot take, I guess. The Kenneth Branagh Murder on the Orient Express was hot garbage. I don't have high hopes for Death on the Nile. I will still see it. I definitely recommend instead watching the Peter Ustinov Death on the Nile. It is a delight. It has Angela Lansbury as a drunk who writes erotic novels. So really, what more do you need to know about that movie? I woke up like this. It's true. I do, like, you know, we all have strengths and weaknesses. I will say that I am thankful and feel blessed for my hair because I don't have to color it. I don't really have to do much to it. I grow it myself and it just comes out like this and I'm happy with it. And I have plenty of other physical insecurities. So I'm glad that my hair doesn't have to be one of them. I'm doing Fantasy Mingo and I need an SFF book where romance is integral to the plot, which I'm not familiar with. Is the romance integral in the first Kate Daniels book or do I need something else? So to that book, no. To the series, yes. If you want an Ilona Andrews where it's more tightly integrated, I'd recommend the first Hidden Legacy book because those are closer to being traditional romances. So that is Burn for me. It's also excellent. So yeah, that would be my recommendation. I also have plenty of other ideas about fantasy romance if that won't work for you. Do I like Jeffree Star cosmetics? Whew, what a loaded question. I did try the littler Shane Dawson palette because it was a color story that I'd been wanting from a palette. And I was having a moment of like existential, like nothing matters. It doesn't matter who we buy from because they're all terrible. So I just went ahead and did it. I have to say I wasn't that impressed with it. It was fine, but I think for how much like mental gymnastics I have to do about like, is it ethical to continue to buy from it? Like, I didn't think it was anything that exciting. I would frankly, if you're going to go with a controversial brand for eyeshadow, I would definitely recommend Juvia's Place over it for price and performance consistency, I think. I got through Tom Bombadil fine, but Treebeard about made me put the whole series down. That's fair. I was in it by then, so it was okay for me, but I feel ya. The PBS adaptation of Agatha Christie you can get on BBC or Acorn, the earlier ones. Yeah, the David Suchet Christies are great, I think. 2 classics this year, We by a name I'm not going to attempt, and Great Expectations by Charles Dickens. I really love Great Expectations. Lots of people are going for the bald look while in isolation, but your hair and your Goodread picks is mind-blowing. It is. Joshana's hair is gorgeous. I don't even want to hear it. Hairdresser reactions. Yes, all of our sweet hairdressers, whenever we're all allowed to see them again, are gonna have, they're gonna all have to get out like the like take it, do it. Let's see here. Joshana's gonna go read. Bye, Joshana. Mwah, mwah, mwah. Have fun reading. I have a whole Amazon list filled with everything Agatha Christie. Yes. Enjoy your journey. Do I have Prime Video recommendations? I mean, I just watched The Pale Horse. That was only okay. I don't know that I'd recommend it. I've been watching Making the Cut on Prime, and I'm kind of conflicted about it. Like, I like it okay. I don't know. It's wants to be Project Run, like a fancier version of Project Runway. I'm not sure how successful it is at that. Adult fantasy recs. Sorry, I'm looking at my shelf here. I recently read the first Robin Hobb book, Assassin's Apprentice. That was really enjoyable to me. Book of the Ancestor. Mark Lawrence is fantastic. That trilogy, and there's a new one, gonna be a new trilogy coming out soon. And what's the other one? Poppy War. That trilogy is wrapping up this year. I think those are really interesting, brutal books, but they're good. I have not yet tried Cleona Cosmetics. I would like to. They're quite expensive, so it's hard for me to justify when I have so much eyeshadow. So someday, perhaps, when my powder products finally start to mold and I can throw them away. What am I reading today? I'm wrapping up The Red House Mystery by A.A. Milne. Thank you, Stacy. Let's see here. I'm feeling the exact same way about Making the Cut. I do like it, but something's off. It's okay. It's fine. I did binge Next in Fashion when I ran out of Making the Cut last weekend, and I think I like the vibe of that one a little bit more. So you might try that. That's on Netflix. Prime has Mrs. Maisel. I couldn't get into Mrs. Maisel, which is weird because I love Gilmore Girls, but yeah, I know people love that. Thank you for the Rex. You're welcome. Well, folks, I've been sitting quite a while, so I'm probably going to start wrapping up here sometime soon. Do I like Mary Higgins Clark? I read her as a wee lass, and did enjoy her. I have not read her as an adult, but I would be open to trying her because I remember them being very like escapist fun. So I could see that being a good read. Especially these days. It's just so hard to focus on anything. I'm trying to get back into reading. I made my getting out of a reading slump. I'm still working my way out of one. So I've been reading a lot of Kindle Unlimited shorts because that's what I can focus on. Carnival Lane is on Amazon Prime. Patricia Cornwall. I only ever read the nonfiction thing she did about Jack the Ripper, which was interesting. So yeah, I haven't really tried much from her in terms of her fiction, but she's very popular, so I know a lot of people enjoy her. I am participating in the Owls Readathon. I've got my TBR up, if you're interested in that. So I'm actually doing okay because once I get through the Red House Mystery, that will be my third book for the readathon, and I'm targeting to read at least 5, possibly 7, depending on how things go. Yes, people saying that they're having trouble focusing during the quarantine. I definitely am. I'm hoping now that I'm more on the mend that maybe I can improve my focus a little bit more. But yeah, I don't know. I've gotten into watching so much more television, which I've been. Do you want to know what I've been? I'm such an old woman. You want to know what I've been binge watching this quarantine? It's not cool. It's not sexy. I have watched Tiger King because, I exist on the internet and that was like a requirement. Shark Tank. That's all I want to watch. I don't know why. It turns my brain off in such a wonderful way. I also think there's something about Shark Tank that is like fine-tuned to speak to this certain American mythos about capitalism and being self-made. Like it is calibrated to speak to an internal narrative that Americans have, I think, in like a beautiful way. And it just like, I don't know. I'd never seen it before. My mom suggested it as sort of like something neutral to have on in the background. And I have watched 5 seasons of Shark Tank. I don't know why. Have I seen the new Little Women adaptation? I have. It is fantastic. I actually think that's an example where that adaptation fixes problems in the book and is therefore better than the book. Controversial, but I think it's fantastic. I would go by Joan Marie Hawke in English. See, there you go. That's in Southern, it would be Joan Marie Hawke. Very nice. Hopefully sitting was okay. Yes, it's okay. I try not to go more than like an hour and a half. Audiobooks are definitely helping me too. Yeah, I'm glad reading slumps tips were helpful. I think a lot of people are in it. Other people love Shark Tank. Yes. I don't know why I love Shark Tank so much, guys, but I love it so much. I hate fucking Mr. Wonderful. He's such an asshole. I love Lori. And I don't like Mark Cuban as a human, but I do like him on that show. I had set commute reads and office audiobooks and after work reads. Yes, Chris, I agree. Now I don't have a schedule, so I can't get into the mindset. I completely agree because I'm much the same way. And I think the transition from work to not work is very difficult for me to switch my mindset because I'm working remotely. This is my 4th or 5th week working remotely. And so it's hard for me to like figure out when to slot in the reading because like my work bleeds into my personal time more and like, I don't know. It's just a whole mess. Love listening to you talk. You're so intelligent. Thank you so much. You're too kind. Mara, I love your channel. Because of you, I started reading books and my spoken English has also improved. That's wonderful. Please do more live seasons if possible. Lots of love and support from India. Thank you so much. Yes, I'm going to try to do this on Tuesday evenings so long as I'm in lockdown because I enjoy other YouTubers doing it. So I'm happy to do it. I enjoyed Ready Player One because the 80s were my age 17 through 26 years. Yeah, I can totally see the nostalgia factor there. Songland is great, and I love The Masked Singer to lose myself. I haven't tried The Masked Singer. I don't really love a singing competition show. It's not my preferred reality genre. I don't know. I think there were just so many of them there for a while. I think I just kind of got burnt out on it. Hello from Canada. Love Canada. I missed the beginning, but so happy you were doing this. Yes, like I was saying, I'm going to try to do this on Tuesday nights. So I'll see you guys back here again next week if you're interested. Okay, so like I said, I think I'm kind of pushing it in terms of sitting. So I think I'm going to go lay down because I'm an old. Guys, I've not been able to sit comfortably for more than an hour in more than 6 weeks. Does make you grateful though for the little things. So the little things like just being able to sit. Go be comfy, stay safe. I've been mostly focusing on art, just kind of letting something run while I do stuff. Okay, guys. Like I said, I will be back again next week. I think my next recorded video will go up Thursday night. So there's that. And yeah, I hope you guys are staying safe. I hope this was a nice little moment of socialization. I really appreciate your community. Nice thing about Booktube is that this is at least still the same, right? Like we're always online social distancing. So not that different. Hello from Argentina. Yes, stay safe. Stay safe to everyone. Take care of each other. Don't be dumb. Think about your neighbors. Make good choices. Be safe. Make good choices. Love you guys. Have a great night. I'll see you next Tuesday.